Good morning and welcome to CSL Redlands pre-service meditation. I am Dr. Jeannie Kataoka. I am a licensed practitioner and I'm usually at the Riverside CSL, so I'm happy to be filling in this morning, and so let's get started with our meditation. The title of Reverend Katelyn's talk this morning, I believe, is Accept What Is, Let Go of What Was, and Have Faith in What Will Be. This brings to my mind the Buddhist idea of detachment. We experience suffering in life because we tend to hang on to things, ideas, memories, objects, even though they no longer serve us and certainly may not be serving our highest and best good. I believe we often hang on to things due to fear, and for many that's FOMO, afraid of missing out. Something I like to remember is that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So let's take a look this morning at the ideas of accepting what is, letting go of what was, and having faith in the future. Bring to mind a challenge you are having. It could be a person, a place, or a thing. What does it look like? Feel like? Does it have a sound or a smell? What is it that makes it challenging? Is it a challenge because you're having trouble accepting it? And why do you think that is? And just breathing into that. What would your life be like if you just let go of it right now? Don't worry, you can always pick it up after the meditation. Could releasing it make room for something better? What would that something better look like? What would it feel like? What would it sound like? So now let's turn to what in your life you can have faith will be better if you accept this challenge as it is and release what isn't serving you. Breathe into this faith. Know it. Feel it. Recalling that we are accepting what is. We are letting go of what was. And we are cultivating a faith in what will be. As Ernest Holmes said, change your thinking, change your life. And we know that what we think about, we bring about. So cultivating a faith in a beautiful future. Thank you for joining me for this pre-service meditation. The service will begin shortly.
Thank you, Jean. Beautiful. Welcome. Person next to you, say God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love. We come together, yeah, we come together. Together in the name of love. Now look at the person next to you. Say, recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love. We come together, yeah, we come together, and we come together in the name of love. From every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite, in honor of the God in each other. Now look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, yeah, we come together. Ah, we come together. The name of love. We come together, yeah, we come together, and we come together in the name of love. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey. Yeah, 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 hey, hey. Let us make it joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make it joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make it joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love. right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. And my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. Yes, I'm in the right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. And my soul is welcome here. Yeah, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Sing it with me. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Your soul is welcome. Your soul is welcome here. Yeah, your soul is welcome here. Oh, your soul is welcome here. Yeah, your soul is welcome. And my soul is welcome here. Yeah, my soul is welcome here. And I am getting the message loud and clear. Getting the message loud and clear. Getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Welcome. Here's Eileen.
And here I am, and welcome, and good morning. My goodness. Well, you know, we welcome this every Sunday. We read the same one, but there are so many people that are new to us, sometimes in the sanctuary and sometimes online. So we read it again every Sunday because we all want you to feel very, very welcome here. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Redlands. Thank you to everyone joining us on Facebook Live and YouTube and here in our beautiful sanctuary. My name is Eileen Swenson, and it is truly a privilege and an honor to welcome you to our Sunday celebration. CSL Redlands is a New Thought community living an ancient wisdom philosophy based on the science of mind. The science of mind philosophy was developed in the early 20th century by writer and lecturer Reverend Dr. Ernest Holmes. Dr. Holmes studied truths from all the world's religious traditions and spiritual paths and developed a fresh new way for us to look at ourselves and how we fit into our world. CSL Redlands is an open and inclusive community honoring all people from every background, all races, sexual orientations, gender expressions, and spiritual paths. And no matter who you are or where you are on your journey of faith, you are always, always welcome here. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, and our vision is a world that works for everyone and all of creation. Now, I added all of creation because it is on the original one, and Holly, our wonderful Holly, has been missing it. So she said, you must put that back in. And so here it is. Our vision is a world that works for everyone and all of creation. If you are here with us for the first time, please raise your hand and let us properly greet you. I know somebody is. Thank you. Wonderful. We have a lovely little packet for you. And a gentle reminder to silence your cell phones and place them safely away so that you may participate more fully. And we have some announcements. Always we have announcements. Our 1-minute miracle. Our practitioners are available after service for prayer. What can we know for your highest good? CSL Redlands Food Ministry provides sack lunches for hot meals to the homeless on Saturdays and also assists families by hosting food drives. The center is in need of volunteers to help prepare meals and distribute them to the homeless on Saturdays between 8:30 a.m. and noon. and also to help coordinate and work food drives as needed. Donations of lunch meat, mayonnaise, mustard, plastic flatware, canned and boxed goods are all needed. You can bring them here to the center on Sunday if you like. We can take care of them here. Or you can bring them on Wednesday to the center between 11 and 3. Treatment and meditation class is well underway, and boy, is it exciting. And thanks to Reverend Katelyn O'Connell, we are really experiencing some wonderful and full and fun times. I'm telling you, you missed by not being able to sign up. The book club, and this is another one, a new one started by Holly Bocanegra, and it is Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks. Now, I just found him. Now, I know people know him from eons back. And I have just found him, and I'm fascinated. I go to YouTube, and he's just all over there. Just put in Abraham Hicks, and you can find it. But this book is a book study, Ask and It Is Given, and it's every Monday and Thursday beginning June 26th. That's not too far from now, 7:30 to 8 p.m., and no reading homework. There's no reading homework, so that's always good. Now, Beatifique. Okay, Beatifique had its second week, and it really is. I mean, what do you think? How can we not have an incredible poetry reading without, with this right there? It's pretty amazing. And I encourage all members and friends to support the events that we have here at the center. We are raising funds to keep our center functioning. We want it to be here and always be here, and that happens when we have the funds to support it. And so we support it by our weekly contributions, which we are so grateful for, and for the contributions that come in with special events that we have. Now, Beatifique is really quite amazing, and at one time it did suggest that you dress as a beatnik, but we have loosened our qualifications. You can come dressed any way you want. Just come. Just come. And if you don't want to read a poem that you have written or found that particularly speaks to you, then just come to support our orators, because you don't have to do anything else other than sit here and listen to them and then applaud like crazy. We always like applauding like crazy, okay? The Metaphysical Fair is, I believe it's on July 9th now, not the July 1st, because that's the 4th of July weekend. So it will be July 9th, and it's going to be here in the sanctuary again, where it used to be. Back to the sanctuary. Summer Nights Drumming Circle, facilitated by shamanic Reiki drumming master Debbie Nuzio Duro. It is a $20 advance registration, and that is highly suggested. So the drumming circle will be Saturday, July 16th at noon here. And the sound bath Saturday, July 29th, and that time is going to be determined, and we're going to let you know at least 5 minutes ahead of time, so that you can plan and you can be here. All right, I believe that is it. Thank you all so much for being here today. We love having you. Thanks.
Thank you, Eileen. Okay, here's your big chance to get centered. Just close your eyes and think about it. We're going to be talking about accepting what is. And in this moment, there's really only one thing that is. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems that I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love, there is only love, love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
Thank you, Gilman. That was beautiful. I'm Dr. Jeannie Kataoka. I am a licensed spiritual practitioner, and I'm usually at the Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. So good morning, CSL Redlands. Our wisdom reading this morning is entitled A Positive Shift, the Art of Forgiveness. To forgive is really divine. It takes strength to set aside what is often justifiable anger. It is much easier to hold a grudge, yet when we allow ourselves to put aside that anger and forgive those who have harmed us, we actually do ourselves a great service. Making the conscious decision to let go of pain is the beginning of healing. To do so is challenging. However, holding on to resentment, even when the person who has harmed us is genuinely sorry. Forgiving another is both one of the most difficult and one of the most spiritually rewarding choices we can make. While forgiveness is a noble act, research shows that the person who offers it benefits as much as, or perhaps more than, those who are forgiven. Expressing true forgiveness is empowering because it helps us to stop feeling like victims and allows us to dispel our own suffering at having been wronged. Our levels of rage and hostility decrease, while our capacity to love increases. We are better able to control our negative emotions, and we have an enhanced ability to trust. We are freed from control of past events, which can help us stop repeating destructive behavior. Both our physical and mental health improve. Although many people feel forgiveness is something that must be asked for or even earned by another, it is actually a gift we give ourselves. So turning within, centering down, letting the chair hold you as if you are in the lap of the beloved. What I think, know, and feel is that entity that we call the beloved, we call the one, we call our source, peace, love, wisdom, truth with a capital T, is the Alpha, Omega, and Omega. It is all that is. And what brings joy to my heart is to know that I am one with that entity, can never be separated, will not be separated. I am one with that. That creator of all that is, that creator of all the good we can imagine and more. And what amazes me, that what is true for me is true for each and every one of you. You are loved. You are never not loved. Just being you, with all your foibles, all your anxieties, whatever you think makes you less lovable, God doesn't see that. I bless this service. I bless Gilman for the music. I bless Reverend Katelyn. I bless David. I bless everyone who had anything to do with preparing or bringing this service about. I bless Reverend Sanja and wish her safe travels. And with that, I just let it be and invite you to join me in the consciousness of the one mind which we all share by saying, and so it is.
So it is. When I saw the topic, saw the words "accept what is," I immediately thought of this song by Joni Mitchell, which is actually more than accepting what is, it's appreciating what is. Woke up, it was a Chelsea morning, and the first thing that I heard was a song outside my window, and the traffic wrote the words. It came ringing up like Christmas bells, wrapping up like pipes and drums. Oh, won't you stay? We'll put on a day, and we'll wear it till the night comes. Woke up, it was a Chelsea morning, and the first thing that I saw was the sun through yellow curtains and a rainbow on the wall. Blue, red, green, and gold to welcome you, crimson crystal beads to beckon. Oh, won't you stay? We'll put on a day. There's a sun show every second. Now the curtain opens on a portrait of the day, and the streets are paved with passers-by. Pigeons fly and papers lie, waiting to blow away. Woke up, it was a Chelsea morning, and the first thing that I knew, there was milk and toast and honey, and a bowl of oranges too. And the sun poured in like butterscotch, stuck to all my senses. Oh, won't you stay? We'll put on a day, and we'll talk in present tenses. When the curtain closes and the rainbow runs away, I will bring you incense out by night, by jewel light, by candlelight, if only you will stay. Oh, sleepy dreamer, won't you wake up? It's a Chelsea morning. Remember to talk in present tenses. Here's Reverend Katelyn. She's got a whole spread here. We got to get set up.
So good morning, everybody. I brought myself instead of navigating Isn't that fun? Dr. Jean opted not to use it. She has some height. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I want to give thanks for everything that's preceded this moment. Gilman, that first piece knocked my socks off, especially the a cappella part. It was absolutely exquisite. And Dr. Jean, phew, it is really good to have you here. I am going to bask in that idea of every time I sit in a chair being wrapped in the arms of the beloved. Whew, that filled me. It really, really filled me. So, there seems to be kind of an overall interpretation of what we're talking about today. It is this, it is that, and everything in between. So let me just try to consolidate what it is that I'm talking about today. First of all, happy Father's Day. Let me say that. And let me say that that was first and foremost what inspired the real foundation of my topic today, which is radical forgiveness. Because where my dad is concerned, this has been my life's work since the age of 17. So some of the things that came up in the brainstorming of the topic with Reverend Sonja was the fact that one needs to detach, one needs to let go of what was, one doesn't want to catapult in what might be, one needs to be fully committed to living in the now in order to be available for this thing called forgiveness. The other component that's absolutely essential in an authentic forgiveness is compassion. Compassion. Reaching a point where we can genuinely know that whomever it was that we have a perception that they've wronged us, that they did the best they could with what they knew and what they had at that time. And that's big. That's big. I will start by giving you just a teeny little recap, because what I don't want to do is dwell on the what was, and my dad was an active alcoholic, and he died by the age of 43 to his addiction. Our childhood was quite traumatic. I mean, those are like some of the facts. I grew up frightened a lot of the time. His rage was unmanageable when it was. And I've never spoken about my father on Father's Day. Let me just say this. And let me just say that there are no accidents. And that when Sonja asked me to speak on Father's Day, I knew I couldn't say no. Because what I do want to impart on you today is that because I've been committed to rigorously doing the work that it's taken me to get to this place of radical forgiveness, I'm delighted to tell you today that just when I thought I'd done all that I could do, there's more. My mom passed, as pretty much everybody here knows, on November 29th. My best friend, she had me at the age of 18. We grew up together. My very best friend. The loss is immeasurable. I've given up on coming up with any descriptive that adequately describes the loss that I experienced in my life. My mother was also the one that did her best when we were growing up to assure us that we were safe. That she invited us to joyful activities, even in the midst of the craziness. She could pull together the best Christmas, the best Easter, the best Mother's Day, Father's Day, in spite of it, in the midst of it. It was almost magical. My dad didn't know what to do with me. He used to call me, and I'll quote, a mouthy little broad, because I have always had the heart of an activist. I come from a long line of suffragettes, apparently, and witches in Salem. So, as a result, I don't exactly color inside the lines, never have. And my father didn't know what to do with that. Because in the mind of an individual who I, have come to learn and accept was indeed sick, he didn't know what to do with my full expression. The only thing he knew how to do was control it, make it manageable. But I can't be managed. It's not who I am. And my light frightened him, and I know that. And the parts of me that were a mirror for the repressed parts of him frightened him. So throughout my life, I navigated my way into a 12-step program as an Alateen, with the idea as the eldest child that I was going to save my family, which any of you who come from program know, it's a little codependent of me, but all I knew was things weren't right. And sometimes I felt like I was the only one who would say it out loud. Things aren't just not right. And I knew my family wasn't like everybody else's, that I knew. I knew that there were times that were embarrassing or even shameful. I knew that there were only select friends that I brought home because they might find out what went on behind closed doors. Grace brought me into my inner work at the age of 17, because not only did I learn to save my own life, if you put it in those terms, but I also found an Eastern bent to my practice and began yoga and meditation at the age of 17. Started with transcendental meditation at 17 and simultaneously a yoga practice. So at age 17, there was a profound awakening in my life. And I got to become really accountable for the first time in my life as to what my life was going to look like from that point forward. I couldn't deny what was or what had been. All I knew was I was committed to creating a better tomorrow starting now. So all these years later of diving so deep and being willing to be willing to go even deeper when I thought I'd somehow arrived at some level of realization. Well, what I can tell you now is, my mom asked me in her will, to facilitate a celebration of her life in the fall in Massachusetts. I always knew she wanted me to do that. That part wasn't a surprise. The surprise was she wanted her ashes transported and buried beside my father. Whew. And I remember when I first saw that in the will, and the voice of doubt within me said, can I do this? Have I come that far? Can I evoke the level of, and I'll call it radical, forgiveness that will be required to do justice to her request? Because one of the things that slapped me in the face that day was, are you that clear in consciousness with your own work as to what was, that residual stuff isn't going to seep into the acknowledgement of the love that they had? And what became very clear to me was, if I'm not, I'd better be by then, because I owe her that, and I owe them both that. Because you see, it wasn't a matter of my stepping into the magnitude of who I am despite my father, but it was because of him. He was a catalyst for me learning that nothing and no one could keep me small. And that fueled a good 30 years of my life. At first it was, oh, you don't think I can? Watch me. Oh, you don't think that's possible? I'll show you. And in time, I stepped into the real truth of who I am and how resilient and courageous I am. And part of that, genetically anyway, came from him. So when my mom asked to be buried beside him, I had to step beyond definitions of what an alcoholic is, what they're capable of controlling and what they're not, this thing called diseased thinking, my deeming my mother codependent in that dynamics for so much of my life. It was purposeful in that it deepened my understanding of what addiction is. But this is calling me. This has been calling me since her passing to something so much greater than that. And just knowing that it's not mine to determine whether she loved this man or not. She did. Why would she want to be buried beside him if she didn't? Why would she have chosen not to have a relationship once he passed, ever again, at the age of 39? Because she loved him. So do I get to deem that love as anything less than the purity of love that I've known? I don't think so. I don't think it's my right. So who I'm evolving into being, and I'm saying since my mom passed a little more than 6 months ago, is a whole other level of forgiveness that I didn't even know, one, existed, or two, that I'm capable of. I didn't know what I didn't know. And all I can say is that something very, very deep in my consciousness is germinating now on a whole other level. And I'm seeing my father through her eyes of love. Unconditional love, maybe for the first time. All these years later, I turned 65 last Wednesday. That's a lot of years since the age of 17. And when I say to you that I put both my healing and first and foremost God at the heart and center of my life, and I've never deviated from that, that's why I'm receptive to the more that we will be revealed, as 12-step programs tell you. More will be revealed, more will be revealed. I'm here to tell you it's revealing, and it's revealing now. And there's a whole other level of compassion that's being evoked in me, and there's a whole other level of deep, radical forgiveness that's germinating in consciousness. So today is celebratory for me. I can talk about my dad from a whole other place than I might have been able to speak about him until today. And that's a cause for celebration. That's a cause for honoring Father's Day instead of ignoring it like I did many, many years. Or when people would share about their father, feeling like I didn't have something loving and of substance to contribute because it translated to so much pain and so much fear. But it all had a purpose. And that's what I'm also here to tell you. I am who I am today in the service capacity that is my life, because the combination of this dynamic that on a human level might have looked dysfunctional, might have looked like it didn't work, to a lot of people from the outside looking in. But somewhere in there, there was love. There was love, deep, abiding love that's lasted for, what, half a century since he passed. And my mom passed 45 years to the day from my father's passing. Of 365 days in a year, are you kidding me? Was that supposed to say something? I think so. He came for her. He came to get her, to take her home. And who am I to have an opinion about any of it? Who am I? So, I guess what I want to talk about, an interesting transition here, is that whatever your opinion is around this that we call the divine masculine, the father figure, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, that's enough. I can say thank you today. I can say thank you for all of him. And as Dr. Jean said today, foibles and all, I really heard that. Foibles and all. We are human beings. We're simultaneously spiritual and held from a place of the Most High, but we are navigating this thing called life with no map, and we're doing the best we can. And we're not meant to do it ourselves. We're meant to lean into one another. And some of the relationships that we cultivate are for a season, and some are for a reason. My dad was my reason for who I am. My mother was my wind beneath my wings. For all that was the life from the time he left. Now, and somebody said to me the other day, not only will your relationship with your mom continue to deepen, it will expand. And I had to kind of chew on that. I'm like, with my relationship to eternality, and her knowing my relationship to eternality, and my inviting her into that understanding, because I had the privilege of living with her for 5 years before she passed, and being beside her when she took her last breath. It's just a whole lot. It's a whole lot of wonderful stuff to take in the midst of the bittersweetness of it all. So, gosh, I have charts, and I can thank my mom for my charts. She used to do them for me. And you'll notice with one of them that I whipped up last night, everything goes in this direction. My mom was an artist, and she had a great eye and a great sense of like space on a canvas. So she could look at it and she could know how to find center, and everything was beautifully balanced. I'm there with a ruler and a pencil, and you'll see the results. Could use some up-leveling, but I'm doing my best. But she was she was the catalyst for my using charts when I speak, because I'm very experiential in the way that I speak and in the way that I teach. And for me, and for those of us who learn visually, this helps. It truly helps, and I hope that it assists you as well. I'm going to put the charts out in the back of the room because I'm sure we won't cover all of them. I really encourage you, as I do whenever I speak, wherever I speak, take photographs of them if something speaks to you and you want to, take it home with you. But I am going to give you a bit of some of the stuff that I want to talk about. The root of and in Science of Mind we say there's nothing to heal, only a greater truth to be revealed. The root that is the jump start for forgiveness is compassion. It's the understanding of the lack of an understanding, right? We did the best we could with what we knew at the time that we did. It takes a tremendous amount of clarity, strength, and true spiritual maturity to master genuine compassion, not the, act as if kind. Genuine compassion. Love offered from real compassion is not personal, it's transpersonal. This level has a non-dual quality because in the mind of God there is no other. There's only one life. The depths of one's being, the spiritually awakened heart practices unconditional compassion, which expresses as it needs to tough love at times when that's what's called for, and an unwavering gentleness and nurturing when that's what's called for too. Love is always the viewpoint, the motive, and the practice. And some of this was extracted from my former minister, a talk that Reverend Michael Beckwith did through Agape. When we want to know where the responsibility for compassion begins and ends, it's right here. It's right here. It starts with self. And so many philosophies teach us that forgiveness, we're ultimately doing it for ourselves. And yes, we absolutely are. We are. And on an energetic level, when we forgive another, we free them from whatever energetic is clinging on, consciously or subconsciously, that allows them to hold on to anger, resentment, guilt, shame, any of those debilitating qualities. So it has a dual purpose, this thing called forgiveness. But, it starts with us. So you want to contemplate this, and this kind of goes with what you see in your program as the title for today. Is it easier to want what you get than to get what you want? We are free the moment we're willing to accept all that is as it is. Master teachings in all of the philosophies worldwide teach us, have what you have, right? Have what you have. That's what I've had to do with my dad. Have what I had. I didn't get Brady Bunch dad. I didn't. And that hurt a lot as a kid. And it was the cause of all kinds of things as a kid, but it was what it was. And until I accept that I had what I had without apologizing for it or trying to justify it in any way, I cannot be free. So I have what I have, and I accept it as it is. And then somebody touched upon suffering today. Dr. Jean did in the meditation. That's suffering is an option. We have volition, right? We have choice. So we get to choose, are we going to suffer or not? That's our call. And at any point in our own self-imposed suffering, we can intercept it and choose again. We can choose not to be triggered by people, circumstances, conditions in our life that have caused this suffering. They may have been the catalyst for it, but holding on to it is our call. We find our willingness to let go when we've suffered enough, okay, when we're done. We ultimately suffer because we cling to that was. We hold on to the energetic of something that is absolutely out of our control. Unhappiness is the result of wanting something other than what is. Again, if you have what you have and you accept it as whole, perfect, and complete, whatever it was, there's no room for suffering. There's no room for suffering or wishing, wanting, and hoping it to have been something other than it was. When we become aware of our suffering and the ways in which it holds us hostage to our past, we are free to re-choose not to suffer anymore. We always do what we're willing to do. We always have a choice. I can't is what we say in order to keep, and this is key, pretending that we're not responsible. Right? How often do we do that? Where we pretend not to know that this choice to let go of whatever we're harboring that isn't serving us is our choice. We keep fueling but he did this, she did that, they did this, they did that. They are this, we are that. That whole vicious cycle that separation breeds. We suffer when we don't get what we want. We get what we want, say what we want, and we're not satisfied by it. That's the other thing. We're separated from those which we love. That's the chasm that holding on to resentment can create between us. We must endure the presence of those that which we do not love, because they have a right to occupy space, right? Everybody does. We don't get to choose. We don't get to cast who's there. We get to choose whether we keep people in our lives. But again, if people show up in our lives for a reason and a season, then what if they were purposeful and we squeezed them out because we were uncomfortable? We'll just get to learn the lesson again the next time around. These are Hawaiian, I think it's pronounced huna or huna. If somebody knows, please let me know. These are the Hawaiian principles, and I think that they're particularly appropriate with this. The world is what you think it is, right? It's all perception anyway. Change your thought, change your perception, change your condition and your experience. There are no limits, only those that are self-imposed. Energy flows where attention goes. Now is the moment of true power, right here, right now. If we dismiss our history as behind us, and we refuse to attach to the mystery that is the unknown of tomorrow, what we have is now. With all of its richness and possibilities and blank canvas, we have now. To love is to be happy. All power comes from within. Effectiveness is the measure of truth. You know that expression, based on results, right? In the demonstration of our lives, we get to see the truth of where we're operating from. And if we don't like what's manifested, then we need to go back to the roots and look at what limiting beliefs continue to create something that we say we don't want. Okay. I happen to like this quote. It comes from Revolutionary Road, which was a movie. I can't think who was in it. Okay, we are each given two lives, the life we learn with and the life we live with after that. Isn't that great? Because the life we live with after that is when we decide if status quo worked or not. You know, do I extract from this experience that I had the lessons that I need to move forward or not? You know, what life do we live after that? Accept what is, and that was in your bulletin today. Let go of what was and have faith in what will be. And this is Emerson, my guy. What lies behind us and before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And from Jack Kornfield, the past is over. Forgiveness means giving up all hope of a better past, right? When we reach a point, and that's what I'm saying, I'm experiencing now as what I would call radical forgiveness. I'm no longer attached to the idea of it should have or would have or could have been anything other than it was. There's a neutrality around it. It no longer fuels any kind of triggered emotion. All that's there in the space is love. And I didn't know that was possible. But I'm here to tell you, it's been a really long journey, but it is. It's possible. And I'm excited about the what's next of it. Like, you know, what if I really love my father? Like, really love him? Wow. You know, what if I a cousin was telling me what a brilliant athlete he was. I once saw him play basketball out in the driveway. I didn't know that part of him because we grew up in the pain of the addictive spiral, and I didn't get to see who he was. But my mom did, and maybe through her passing and her invitation for me to know him, maybe I can get to know those parts of him too.
I hope so. I really hope so. Fear is forgetting everything is all right. I'll leave this in the past for you to take a look at. I don't need to reiterate every one of the charts I did. You can do that for yourself. And I just want to say this to you before I do a quick reading and close. I did an exercise on Mother's Day in Hemet with this. And it says, my mother was a saint. The flip side, my mother was a nightmare, okay? And I asked a friend to walk around with the sign, and people broke up into dyads. And they talked about why their interpretation of their, in that case, mother, was one extreme or the other. Because you know what? When we compartmentalize, it really is pretty black and white. But our mother, or in this case, my father, wasn't the sum total of either or. He was just human. And if I demonized him, and all I choose to remember was that he was a nightmare, I've got all sorts of data to support that. And I can cling on to that till my last breath. But it's not fair to him. And it's not fair to my mom, and it's not fair to me. And if I, on the other extreme, like with my mom, it would be really easy for me to say my mom was a saint because I believe she was. But the truth is she was flawed. There were lots of things that were really human. And I learned that when I went back and lived with her at the age of nearly 60. You know, after moving out at 17. You know, she's human. So if we hold somebody only in that place of the Most High, which of course on an esoteric level we are, we don't give them permission for the foibles, for the flaws, for the humanness. Each of us is a compilation of this, that, and everything in between. So if we have what we have about who we are, we create a safe space for absolutely anyone we encounter to be the truth of who they are. God's will and my opinion on it, right? People are served up in our lives for a reason and a season. And today, I come to you with reverence for it all, awed by God's idea that's been my life to date, inspired by what's next in the more will be revealed. And I offer the same to you. Peace and blessings. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Katelyn. And besides Father's Day, we don't want to forget that tomorrow is Juneteenth. And if you don't know what that's about, look it up. But this song is about having faith in what will be. You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings, and with every step you take, plus the progress that you make, the reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams, you will do amazing places you will go, and the people you will know. Don't worry when or where or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. You will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're just out there having fun. So close your eyes and take a breath and smile. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. You will do amazing things. Thank you.
Okay, so it's time now for our offering. If the ushers would come forward, please. Thank you. And so as we're resting into the consciousness that is the overflow, let us honor and give thanks for these two beautiful beings and their willingness to serve today. And I ask you to call forth in consciousness your commitment to serving the higher good, whether that shows up as time, talent, or monetary treasures. Give from the overflow. Draw from the deepest recesses of consciousness and stretch a little. Be willing to be more of who God's idea is for you today. And David, do we have the affirmations? Yes, thank you. And everybody will join together in those, please. Oh boy. Here we go. I make peace with my past, everyone.
Judgments of myself and others as I wholly embrace true forgiveness.
By nurturing
the
the growing compassion within me, I am genuinely able to forgive. I surrender all justifications of past behaviors, resentments, and am willing
and as I responsibly embrace the healing power of forgiveness and allow that forgiveness to steep your offering today. Give from that overflow. And so it is.
Thank you for giving, thank you for receiving, thank you for being who you are. Thank you for breathing, thank you for believing, thank you for being who you are. The universe is flowing with love that's ever growing, and you are a vessel of that love. So thank you for caring, bless you for your sharing, thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being who you are.
And so we bless these tithes and offerings, knowing that as we send our healing energy to them, they grow and expand exponentially. And that this unstoppable vision known as CSL Redlands, today, this day, reaps the benefits of that overflow in countless and amazing ways. I rest in the knowing that thy will is already consecrating this blessing, as we say, and so it is. Thank you. So, what I'm going to do is just a brief reading, and then we will finish up with our prayer. I'm going to ask that Dr. Jean accompany me on the pulpit, and Brother Mark, if you'd like to, and any other practitioners and ministers. Reverend Susan, would you like to? No? Okay. Anybody else that wants to step up? Okay. And this is pertaining to compassion. Sometimes we look at the actions of others and find it difficult to understand what motivates them. But we're all doing the best we can with the knowledge we currently have. We've all been taught how to see the world through the examples of those around us and through our own personal experiences. When we keep this in mind, we're better able to accept others' choices, even if they aren't like our own. Before long, we come to realize that our time and energy can be better spent seeking ways to increase the world's level of compassion as a whole. When we can accept that each of us is on a wholly unique path, we no longer feel compelled to try to change anybody else. This realization allows us to effectively shift the balance of understanding on the planet by increasing our own. When we use our energy constructively to bring light into the world, it harmonizes with that of others. It dispels the seeming darkness. This unification allows us to share our understanding from a place of compassionate connection and forgiveness, rather than condescension. When the entire family of humanity recognizes that each of our thoughts, choices, and actions affects us all, we will share a solidarity of compassionate unity, one that places indivisibility above all else as the healing alchemist for our beloved planet. Whew. And so, as we rest into this regenerative power that is gratitude, I rest in thee. And I call forth from the very Lord God of my being the unwavering place that knows only love, that cannot be lulled to or seduced to or manipulated to or by anything other than a consciousness of love. And in that consciousness of loving unity, there is no other. So today I remind us all that in our willingness to call forth compassion from within ourselves, for our own lives, foibles, seeming mistakes, and all, that we call forth a safe space to land for everybody else matriculating this life thing. And so from this consciousness of causative, energetic gratitude and a glee-filled heart that is so delighted by the experience of these beloved souls that have been gathered here as contribution to the greater whole today, from that place of gratitude, with my open-hearted compassion, I pass my prayer to Dr. Jean.
And I know that each person here is blessed as a group and individually. And I know that they go forth from this Sunday, this Father's Day, to be a blessing to the world. They are blessed and a blessing. And I pass to Brother.
So I invite you just to breathe with me and say out loud, right where I am, God is.
Right where I am, God is.
Right where I am, Spirit lives.
Right where I am, Spirit lives.
And I know and declare that each of your needs are met on time, every time. I bless each person who celebrates today, whether the father figures are here on the mortal coil of earth or past. We just send a special blessing to each for knowing that they did the best they could with what they had. They did the best they could with what they had. And so with this energy of unconditional love, I know that all healing is possible. I invite us each to send forth blessings of peace that will hit the Ukraine right here and right now, from border to border, every village, city, and town. Blessing for transformation to take place in a summit that's occurring with the African nations and Russia. Let peace prevail on earth in all places that are in strife. With a grateful heart, I release my word to the law of life and return the prayer back to Reverend Katelyn to close.
Thank you, both of you. I'd like you to repeat after me. Each moment of life can be freedom.
Each moment of life can be freedom.
The choice to forgive is up to you.
The choice to forgive is up to you.
The past is our history.
Past is our history.
Tomorrow's a mystery.
Tomorrow's a mystery.
The present, a time to renew.
The present, a time to renew.
I affirm radical forgiveness.
I affirm radical forgiveness.
Compassion shows me how.
Compassion shows me how.
The love of God expressed as me
The love of God expressed as me
is as forgiving as I allow.
is as forgiving as I allow.
And so it is. Namaste. God bless.
I used to think I would always be alone, separate, misunderstood. I spent my days in quiet desperation. On the outside, things looked good. Then I discovered the error of my thinking, the lie at the base of all my fears. So simple that it turned my world around. Why did it take so many years? We get the lyrics up on the screen, thank you. Now I am walking with my eyes wide open. I am knowing with my mind wide open. I am loving with my heart wide open. I am walking with my eyes wide open. Sing it with me. Now I am walking with my eyes wide open. I knowing with my heart wide open. I am walking with my eyes wide open, wide open. There is no separation, no matter what it looks like. No separation, no matter what they say. No separation except what I imagine. And I imagine separation's gone away. Now I am walking with my eyes wide open. I am knowing with my mind wide open. I am loving with my heart wide open. I am walking with my eyes wide open. Now I am walking with my eyes wide open. I am knowing with my mind wide open. I am loving with my heart wide open. And I am walking with my eyes wide open. Wide open. Wide open. Wide Happy Father's Day. We'll see, and we have a special guest speaker next Sunday, so make sure and come back.